This building is ugly, and the architect, whose name is on the building, agrees. I'm in the Gropiusstadt at the southern edge of Berlin. And this used to be all green fields until the 1950s approximately. At the time, West Berlin had a housing problem. The war had left the city in ruins. Hundreds of thousands of people needed somewhere to live, and the government needed to build fast. The solution, as it was in many European cities, was a satellite town. A planned community built from scratch at the edge of the city, with everything residents would need designed right from the start. And the leading candidate was Walter Gropius. Gropius? He's the founder of the Bauhaus school, probably the most famous architecture school of the 20th century. If you think of modern architecture, it probably originated from him. The city commissioned Gropius, and this was a chance for him to build his vision. And his vision was simple: Licht, Luft und Sonne. Light, air and sun. The buildings would be no taller than 5 stories. There would be green spaces everywhere, connections to the city with the U-Bahn, and community centers and cafes. The plans were presented in 1960. However, just a year later, everything changed when the Berlin Wall was built overnight. All of a sudden, living space in West Berlin had become even more rare. And the Berlin Senate started to panic. What was a plan for 15,000 people turned into 50,000 people. And to accommodate all these people, you had to build these huge high-rises, which was far, far away from Gropius' initial plan of max 5 stories. And this redesign did not work. This area quickly became a problem area in Berlin. The green spaces hadn't grown in yet, the high-rises felt impersonal, and there wasn't a lot to do as a community here. Famously, the story of Wir Kinder vom Bahnhof Zoo, Christiane F., originated from here. She grew up here and became addicted to heroin at the age of 13. For decades, Gropiusstadt was shorthand in Germany for everything that had gone wrong with post-war urban planning. And Gropius hated what became of the city. He wrote a scathing letter to the Berlin Senate for corrupting his vision. And he wrote that our cities are getting uglier and uglier. Walter Gropius died before this city was completed. And yet 3 years after he died and 2 years before the city was completed, the Senate decided to name the city after him, even though he kind of hated it. So even though we associate modernism and Bauhaus with these quite ugly buildings, they were nowhere near the original vision of Gropius. And yet they carry his name, which seems a bit unfair to first abuse the vision for something that was practical at the time, but then later put a name on it as if it's what was originally intended. Over the years, much money was invested to improve the city, like this playground. And the issues that plagued the city when it was first built aren't nearly as strong as they used to. In part, that's because the population is quite old here right now, but in part that's also because of this reinvestment. And now, it's honestly not a terrible place to live. It's super green. I mean, this is a nature preserve for birds behind me. And yes, it's a bit boring and economic issues persist, but there's worse places. And what is left is honestly quite a nice place. And to be honest, I think if Gropius saw it as it is now, he might have liked it. It's green, it's calm, there's lots of light, air and sun. And yes, it's not exactly as his original vision intended, and it might not be the exact model we want for our cities in the future. But I think there's a lot to learn in what works here.